Hey YouTube, it's me again, Tasha. And I know I'm a little bit behind in a couple reviews. But that's how it is sometimes. And I just got through finished watching, of course, Scandal, season three, episode four. And it was pretty okay. Good. I mean, since it was a good episode, but it wasn't like personally like the first two. Kind of like last week reminds me of. And I did have some points that that stood out and everything. But we all have the cliches thing. We have like the Anthony Weiner case that they're kind of like had ran. Kind of like written this episode was like taking off of a real true story with Anthony Weiner's situation. And in this case, there's a man, I think he's congressman, I think, as well. And he's been, doing balls in the draws photos, you dick pics to a lot of these young females. And one of the young ladies that happened to accept this request is now dead. So he's going to trial, and there's, because they're trying to say, there's possibility that he is the reason why this girl is deceased. And of course they asked Olivia Pope and her company to, represent and smooth things or things, all together and make things right. But we all know, of course, Olivia is going to take this, in other words, let me just tell y'all this. Olivia and the rest of Gladiators are broke as fuck now because of her fucking the president and that shit getting out and then it running downhill, even though they were able to basically blame it on the Jessie girl, whatever, Jessie, Jenny, Jessica, whatever that child's name is, a couple episodes ago, and just put the blame on her, that still Olivia's name is tarnished. And there are some people probably that still don't want to fuck with her. So now we have it out there where it's like Olivia's like living check to check and may have to dip into her savings cookie jar for a rainy day in order for this place to keep running until things get better because, like I said, they really don't have a choice of clients. They're kind of like, scraping to get clients. Because, when Harrison told her earlier in the episode about, oh, we got a case of lights is going to stay on, blah, 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 and stuff like that, we all know the first two seasons they had no damn problem. Heck, they can sit here and push away clients that they didn't want to be bothered with. I mean, yeah, they did it more for money, but it wasn't one of those things that they, what I'm saying, was scraping, revenue style, type of thing. They had caviar type of situations. Now, like I said, ramen noodles. That's kind of like the point they're almost at now. Okay, even though Liv still be starved shipping, whatever the case is. So let's go into this. I'm just gonna point out the highlights. That stood out to me. All right, now Jake is thinking about going back to his apartment and stuff like that. And of course, Liv is is trying to tell him is it safe for you to go back, and he's like, basically like I might as well, it ain't gonna matter. It's probably best off wherever the case is, because we all know Olivia Pope's daddy, like I said, is the man, the monster. And as Jess read my book, says, her secret fiance that she does not want to tell the world. Sorry, just my book. I'm just saying, but he's still man and monster. I know you love him dearly, but I'm just saying. um, yeah, he's that person because she is scared to the point like, I gotta follow rules, you gotta be on my life type of thing because, I don't want to hear nothing la 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 la, me no hear no evil is what she's trying to do to Jake. Jake is like, this motherfucker needs to be stopped and exposed. Liv, stop tuning this shit out. And you know how she's just like, la la la, I do not want to hear this, okay? She's basically like, I gotta go back to Sunday dinners and shit and every darn thing, because she's like, I know how powerful this man is. He's the reason why Huck is starting to kill again. He was getting off that shit, or that whiskey, as he likes to call it, when he kills somebody, is the getting back on that whiskey, okay? So, we all know that Liv is actually scared. And, Jake is like, man, something has to give. He has that type of attitude. So Southside, what they're doing this dick pic case, I think I couldn't really hear David and Abby were talking. Abby and her lovely Vital Salon curls were talking and stuff. And he was talking about something in case in the center, and I think it was talking about, I guess, that case. They still going back and forth like, I love each other, but I don't love you. And I mean, they've been carrying this since last season. It's like either y'all get together, y'all don't. But I don't know if they have I love you friend with Brenda. I don't know, but that's the way how they're going with this. And let me get back to it because, like I said, it was really back and forth. Make a long story short, of course, Liv, her way of dealing with trying to put it under the rug is, of course, blame who you can. And when they're doing the trial, of course, Dave is getting upset, whatever the case is, because after they have all these girls, he was asking, crazy shit like he into some toilet type of fetish because he sent some girls say he wants to see her in some toilet stuff like that, and talking about rubbing balls in the face, and I'll teabag a bitch. I mean, they didn't say it all like that, but it was just based on, because this is, on regular TV. It was, you had all these different girls that were coming out and saying, like, yeah, he said this to me, he said this to me, confirming, kind of helping David case close. David is, of course, I think the general attorney, so he's representing to prove that this man is guilty, trying to get, the jury to say, like, this man is guilty, he did kill this girl. And of course, when they're able, Liv get some dirt on this girl, which is fucked up because I think she had a mentor or something, but and the mentor even said like he sent her some violent messages, which it turned out, of course, that wasn't from the husband himself, who was sending her these messages or threats or something the night before she was killed. So I don't know, say if the guy was, they were fucking with each other, or it really was just her mentor that she was studying with, and of course they're proving out like, oh, you're her sugar daddy. Basically, she was getting, paid for her services and her time. They're basically making this child into a call girl, so to speak. And then after, once they sat there and like went ahead and actually proven that, or made their case look better for them. Then this motherfucker, again, cannot stop sending balls in the draws pics to everybody and shit, still to this one girl. And, like I said, want to teabag abroad again and sit here and send it to somebody else. First, he's trying to claim when he's in the gladiator office and stuff to about some, I don't know what you're talking about. Just that stupid Scooby Doo shit. Ooh, just what Scooby Doo, like he did not know, like the shit can't be traced. And then once Harrison looked at the phone and he did see the mole, because the girl mentioned something about a mole, something, right? About, on his dick or whatever. And then they found that it was true that it was sent on the phone. Then they want to say, oh, I have a problem. I have an addiction. Unless they can prove that dumbass is an addiction, then yes, we can agree. So anyways, you got that situation going on. So, we don't even know if Liv is going to still take the case because after that, because that proves that, that he can be tied with, the murders and everything, with the murder and everything, because it's like, okay, your character is fucked up. It's not like you're proving, it can be proven like you are somewhat, could be a predator, some type of pervert or something. And anyways, and like I said, this is still, if everybody can remember, this still is kind of similar to the Winter thing, because even after he got caught and shit, he still was saying, like I said, these same type of things. And while that's going on, this bitch Quinn, now Huck is at his AA meeting talking about how he, liked the bottle and stuff like that, and he's trying to vent out his story. This bitch, I mean, is following him, on some stalker sneaky shit, and her phone goes off, and that's how he knows that she's there. Then in the middle, in between this, when he's trying to like, I think this before he got the information from Jake, which I'm about to go into in a second. She's again asking, like, what's your problem, Huckleberry? How are you doing? Blah blah blah. You don't have to tell me. Was it really wicked? Some whatever it was. It's like Quinn, the character, is starting to give me a shut up bitch moment. Because it's getting to the point where it's like she's becoming so annoying. Abby is not looking as bad at the moment. And it's just Quinn is becoming my least favorite at the moment. Abby was the asshole, and then Quinn was second, but Quinn at the moment is like, please shut the fuck up, okay? If consider that you know what Huck is capable of, or what you think he's capable of, and you know what he's capable of. Do you think that he can't just erase your ass? I mean, has she ever thought about that? The possibility he can snap on her? She may not know about the Liv situation. Liv understood like he was just snapped out of it, and it's not something she was able to forgive him. He's still up there, every day, like they are, and still continues to work there, and is still a friend, obviously. But she's acting like she is an exception to the rule. Bitch, your own dad don't want to be bothered with you. No offense, but you know what I mean? Even after it was proven that she was not guilty, she ain't got nobody else but them at the moment. And I remember that guy in the first season and shit, you know how that crazy motherfucker Billy, whatever Billy who came back and see in the season 2 and shit, had killed him off, and her dumb ass wasn't supposed to be fucking with what was it, the news report and stuff. I'm just saying, Quinn, shut up. That's all I gotta say. So again, it was in later episode. She it was like towards the end, just to bring it up. He flat out said, you ain't concerned about me. You are interested in me. And that is true. It's like she is so obsessed of wanting to be like Huck. You know what I mean? Like her intentions is even being as a friend are foul. This I want to play nice role so I can get what the fuck you can out of you. And to a certain extent, that's what she's coming being. Besides being nosy as hell, tiptoeing, sneaking on him when he's on the computer and he's trying to investigate once he gets the files that Jake leaves, which I'm going to go into that, like I said again, in a second. So while that's going on, this bitch Millie, there's a candidate, Lisa Kudrow. I hope I say that woman's name right. I guess, she's supposed to be the next upcoming episode next week, and she's supposed to be a Democratic candidate, that's going against actually Fitz, in the upcoming presidential election. And this bitch is, there was some conference, just make a little sure, first show on TV, and of course, she's talking a little bit about Fizz and his, keeping his penis in his pants situation. This lead crew, I don't know, I think her name is Josie or something, that is her name in this show. And she's up here, Millie, there was some conference and her dumbass is running at the mouth. She think her mic is off. She's talking to Congressman about something about Joanna doesn't, I think, know shit or something about her just eating up her fried trinkets or basically saying she'll know shit, just insulting her, something like she don't know nothing, blah, blah, blah. And then, some of the woman that she was talking to turned out she had a bunch. So she was Congress too. And so, of course, Sarah has to try to fix this shit up. She does apology, and the girl, the woman, she's not a girl, nowhere near a girl. She's a grown ass woman. Jonas, whatever, accepts her apology. Because, of course, they have to clean it up, because, like I said, but even at the apology, it kind of makes Joan's character look more, they have more sympathy or even empathy for her situation, because you would think, like, Millie, even though she's for the Republicans and stuff, she's still a woman. People could be looking at that. It's like you're sitting and putting another woman down, and you going through all this, and then you put another woman. How could you, bitch? How could you? So when they're sitting up here dealing with that situation, I know Cyrus' husband in the beginning was trying to get him to say one quote for something, he was trying to do some story. And Cyrus, was like wouldn't give him the information, but they still were playful and stuff like that, so it's no big problem. Now, here's the other situation that intertwines. Now, the president sees in the newspaper about the Navy pilot that was on this B-617, whatever, the Operation Remington, that was there that, Huck was assigned to get rid of and give a lovely suicide note and basically, make the murder appear to be a suicide. And, what he was talking about, getting that whiskey back. And of course, the president knows this person, so he's basically like, "Oh shit!" So he decides on his own. There's a little. I think his right hand man. I think what is his name? Tom. I don't know if his name Tom, but the right hand man got some information about where I think he had 2 divorces. He really didn't have any much income, but he was able to. They were wondering how he got by. Well, see, he took some of that money to shut up at time to time, but obviously he got sick of it and stuff like that. So he didn't have really enough money to, I guess, to get buried or something like that. What the Fizz right hand man was saying, and I forgot he's a secret surgeon name, but he's not Cyrus. Cyrus, I think, is sometimes his right hand man. You know what I mean? But he decides he gives I think a certain cemetery a call where veterans and other people who might have been active duty like officers, Navy or whatever, um, in their certain cemetery. Because when he goes to the funeral when they're about to bury him and they're going to the grave and they're about to bury him in the ground, he goes there, and even his sister was kind of shocked when she found out it's the president, because where she's trying to tell them, the Secret Service people, like, this is a secret funeral. And then she was just shocked because she was just wondering, like, why was the president? She was shocked, and she appreciated, but she was kind of shocked because she was like, she got the call from, the cemetery, the veterans and stuff cemetery today, and she was like, I didn't know he was even able to bury here. The only thing that Fitz kept trying to say, like, he understood and he was a good man and so forth and blah blah blah. And I'm not trying to say blah like it wasn't important, what he said, but it was just saying that he was basically, this man should be buried in a respectable place, and she should have proper burial. So after that occurs, Cyrus' husband comes to him and lets him know, like, he shows him little video stuff like that, like, were you hiding this from me and stuff like that again, Cyrus? Like, you could have told me this. Did you do this to spite me not to tell me this? I could have helped you out and stuff like that. And then, of course, Cyrus back his head like, oh shit, because we all know they're trying to still keep this Operation Women thing under wraps, and that's why they killed or had I forgot what that baby pilot killed in the first place. So, of course, he goes to meet with Mr. Just My Book's fiance. Shout out to her. Okay, Just My Book's fiance, and he, Monster Pope, Olivia's daddy. They're meeting somewhere, probably not too far away from the White House, and they're having a talk. And it turns out because Jake, like I said, is still on a roll of trying to get him, like Olivia's post, shut down, and he tried to meet, like, he tiptoed behind Huck and they drew guns and he and he was trying to even tell him, this was a little before that, okay? That he tried to meet, like I said, Huck before. Parking lot was trying to, like, I understand about your situation, because like I said, Lydia brought up earlier, like, how this man got Huck. And, Kate, like I said, Jake is also putting the certain stuff two together. So he's trying to get Huck on the side and, like, basically agree with him to take this motherfucker down. He's ruining our lives, trying to look, ruin Liv's size, what Jake was trying to get Huck to understand. Huck is like, basically, leave me out of it, stay away from Liv. So a little later on, he meets Liv at her office, and he has this paperwork to give her to prove, to basically prove. Oh, forgot, my bad. After he tries to record versus all these kids, while he has a special equipment where he's sitting, not too far away from them. But you hear all these kids, like there's some, they're on a field trip or something, and you hear them singing and stuff. They're like just school children, and they're talking about in code or something, or certain code, about this, maybe about the man dying and present being around and stuff like that. So they're talking about that, basically shit with the Remington slash murder, suicide that recently happened. So he goes to Olivia's office. That's where I cut back to that scene. He goes to Olivia's office or whatever, and again tries to give her basically the stuff he got, they recorded, and the information file pertaining that can possibly take Olivia's father down. And she's just like, I don't want nothing to do with it, blah, blah, blah. And so after that, he left it there. And Huck, shockingly, instead of Huck, popping out of nowhere, probably ready to kill him, in 400 different ways and shit like that, he hears and he chooses to listen what was said. So, like, he ends up taking the files and he sees some of the pictures and stuff like that. And I think they're autopsy photos and stuff like that. And because they go back in a flashback while again, because they kept doing it back and forth a couple times, like they show little bits and pieces, like bits of when Huck was doing the murder and stuff. And he ends up, they show he ends up like pulling down part of his white beard, and he has this tattoo of a code, ABF5 or something, but it's a code that's referring, I think, to Operation Remington. Because, like I said, I think I forgot, who was referring to, like, it turns out the president was the one, um, doing the like riding this plane, because I think he was telling a little about the unclassified. I mean, it was a classified mission, and it was supposed to be 86 missions, but only 85 were listed. But this special mission where the guy who was killed and the president was on there, and Jake was on there as well. And so, like I said, Huck is doing investigating. He realized, like, okay, those are the same numbers code that he sees on a certain paper with this mission name on it, with the guy he recently killed to make it like suicide, um, was on as well. So they're starting to put two together, like for the balls, because it ends up, Liv is looking out her window. This is around the time right before they're about to go back to court and in between there. And it turns out that, she looking out the door, and here's Jake at the door, and then here's Huck. Now, they never show, I guess it's gonna come maybe the next week or so, whatever, what was said in her house. They just like cut the scene, whatever the case was. And we're going back and forth. Now first they had to find a wife, because after we found out he was sending the senator, Mr. Dick Pitt senator and stuff, his wife is somewhere, because she's mad as fuck now. She tried to cover for him and everything else. They so-called went to marriage counseling and stuff. And he again is sending dick pics, okay? So she first was talking about this guy, I guess when they were married, when they were younger, and he had the best looking thighs in the world, and she was playing footsie with him and stuff like that, and she realized she should have took and banged him in the house and stuff like that. And Liv was basically saying, like, you are the one to decide whether or not your husband goes to jail or not. Based on if you're not going to testify. So basically, his freedom is in his wife's hands. So they went to trial the next day, and the one was saying, yeah, she didn't love her husband and stuff like that, whatever. But she, basically was saying, like, but he was with me the whole time. But I may not like him, and I'm not going to lie here and say that he was the one who murdered that girl. And then, like, because you know how David was just so fucked up, how sometimes anything to do with Liv always destroy everything he tries to do down there. Except when he was the devious chip, whatever, when he was able to get that job. So, but usually, like 9 times out of 10, when Living comes, David life has just, always got fucked over somehow in most cases, dealing with her. And so he ends up being not guilty, and that's what Liv had put two and together, realized and talked to her. Basically the wife was able to get away with murder because she thought it was just this one person. Because Liv, talked to her when they were outside, the court doors and stuff like that, and lobby, and she was just like, you know what? I put two, basically paraphrasing, I put two together, realized like you're sitting up here and you use your husband as the alibi. You knew damn, like I pulled your car, bitch. You sat there and murdered this girl. You thought I was gonna make things right, stuff like that, and all she said was just like, "Oh well, everybody gets a second chance. Okay, bye, bitch. Your check is in the mail." I mean, that's pretty much how she just was. You just like, well, Olivia, you should know all people. Everybody deserves a second chance. Just walk the fuck off. Well, this bitch was able to get away with murdering one of her husband's future mistress or one of his mistress, and we just leave it on that. What we heard later on is that supposedly they're supposed to be working on their marriage, so go figure. And we're also dealing with just like I said, you got David and Abby going back and forth. First he's basically saying, stop fucking with me. I think it was middle episode. She wants to take him out to lunch, and he's mad about her because it's this whole damn case thing, and they're basically against him again as usual. And he's sort of saying, like, either I can want the soup or the sandwich, blah 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 blah. It was just kind of like a filler scene, but he's basically like, I'm sick and tired of playing games type of thing. You can't give me an answer, I'm not gonna give you an answer. But at the end, when she shows us the door and says, "Let me in" and stuff, they get put, they have another fuck fest. So, again, another love games between David and Abby as usual. And so after that, with the information, now Jake is back at Liv's house, and Liv is just drinking down that wine and shit, right? And when Jake is there, I don't know if he's back living over there or just like visiting her or whatever the case is. But right when they're just talking and stuff, and a little bit after they were talking about things, and he was like, you don't have to cry, whatever. And she's like, I'm not crying. I'm stopping myself from screaming, even though tears are coming down my face, but I'm not crying. The breathing and, the crying, how she goes. So, right after that, she gets a call from the president, because Jake was making a joke about, basically what was going on, and your father's this and that, because he was telling her earlier, like, you have to watch out what type of man it is, consider what he done to me. He was torturing me, take me out sometimes the other day and stuff like that, and I'll be tortured to be healed again because they want to keep me alive and all this stuff. They did this and magical you don't want to do. I think he would, boil your ass on a pot, the big ass pot, and then eat you for stew and shit like that. Don't underestimate this man. Your dad, Olivia. That's kind of like what was going on too throughout this episode. So when she gets the call from her president, also known as her ex-lover in between, um, Jake knew he was an asshole for this, but he let me know this is my pussy for now. You gone somewhere else. You got your wife and shit. Because he purposely knew Liv was probably on the phone with the president, and because she's trying to walk out to the other room while they're talking. And the president, like, how they talk and shit, like memories and shit. And soon as they a little bit after they're talking, Jake's like, "Do you want some more wine, Liv?" or something like that, trying to mark his territory and shit, and try and let the president know I might be hitting this later on. Okay, thank you for letting me out so I can get in that. Okay, so after that, he's on his way. Turns out at the last end, he's going to meet with the man monster. Okay. Olivia's dad talking about this is a long time, no time no see. This is a reunion that needs to be needed. So it's kind of like the old shit moment. So because I think they were making a comment also, like, did the president know about the father and shit like that? And it turns out he does know the dad. So we're like, cliffhanger. But another thing that I forgot to mention is, because I first didn't know who the hell they talking about because I got the girl name. Cyrus had, I think, Jessie, the girl who was allegedly having an affair with the president's one of her associates or co-workers or whatever, do some research and on her. And it turns out she had a baby at a young age. In the next episode, it's like 15, but she never came out with the baby. So that's, I guess, some of the dirt they're going to use on her. That's the main thing they had showed in the episode, and that was pretty much it afterwards. So other than that, we also seen that lovely dress next episode, because she's gonna be Lisa Kudrow's character, um person, whatever, in the next episode, or representing her. And that dress, that black and white dress, the baby, Liv's character be having some good fashion sense. So she just be, whew, that's some good shit, whatever. That's a beautiful dress, and even her hair was different. I usually don't see her hair like that. I mean, I know that's a little off subject, but I mean, she was sharp as shit as usual when she don't even try, and she's just sharp as fuck. Anyways, that was pretty much review. If I got anything, y'all can add it in the comments or anything like that. But other than that, I hope you had a good night, and I'll see y'all next video. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for y'all support, who supported me. Subscribe, view, just like, comment, whatever. Thank you, and y'all take care. Bye.